When I was only a boy, we lived in Lord's Place, and Margaret Street was the end of the town. Well, you look now, you know, the town doubled from that way. So what's happened over the years is with the email, it's cut back now, which is Electrolux now. It created a lot of employment in the town and made the town grow a lot. But in the recent years, as mining has gone that huge in the town and it's created, you know, that much employment, without the town growing and industries like it does, you know, the towns just wouldn't keep going anyway. And a lot of little industries in the town is probably better than a lot of big industry, because if one little industry closed down, it don't make any difference. But you get one great big industry stop all of a sudden, that's what makes a big impact on a town.
But can you see that maybe happening in 20 years' time when the mine closes or it runs out?
Yeah, when the mine runs out, there's going to be a big change unless Orange does develop to overcome that. But the mine's now talking about 30 odd years of mining, and then if the government lets them do more mining out there where they are, it's only a matter of moving another little bit further, and there's mining, you know, seem to be mining everywhere, although when they're underground, you know, I suppose that covers a lot of the area underground, but I think there must be a lot more around there than what they're mining at the moment. I think it's only a matter of getting more, and it'd go for, you don't know how long, but they can only take out for a certain length of time the rights to mine it. The town's got to keep trying to keep employment and try to encourage industries into the town to keep the town growing. You can't just depend on mining, and you can't depend on the one industry, because that's what happens to a lot of towns. You've seen a lot of towns in industries, and in mining especially. The mine goes, the town just dies. And the same thing will happen in another 30 years' time if a mining drops here. Imagine what unemployment you'd have if you didn't have some other infrastructure or something encouraging more industries into the town.
I think people will eventually feel that they can work for a lower wage just to keep things going here.
I think people would be happy to work for a lower wage, providing their cost of living comes down. The way it's going at the moment, cost of living, people I don't think are as good and well off now as what they were 10 years ago with what they were, because I've seen them in our industry. You know, they wasn't getting as much money as now, but because of the cost of living going up so much, the wages are not going up today as what they were in them. I think Orange at the moment is moving the right way with the bypass around the town, and I think too that they're moving the right way, opening up other shopping centre out of the town, because Summer Street was the main shopping area for years, which held Summer Street, and that was council that were doing that, holding it. You see Dubbo and it's spread out all out, and people can get away from the main street. If you go down the main street now or into the parking areas, you can't find a park. It's big problems. You go up to that new shopping area and there's plenty of parking, the new Woolworths. And I think that's what is needed in the town. I think it's, you know, it's done a very good job to help Orange. And I do think in time to come that there want to be more of that in the town, and more clubs out in them areas. There was a hotel going out in that area, and they objected. Well, I think hotels and clubs out in the areas are better for people that are living in that area, because they don't be getting intoxicated and and going away from that area.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I do think you've got to spread out. I think everything's got to spread around a town to make a town really good. You know, have your different suburbs and your different clubs and everything in them areas. You know, you go up the main street and a cattle truck go past you, and you know what that's like. Well, it's just ridiculous for a main street, and that's when, and everything was pushed into the main street. There was only the one main part of this town was shopping and the main business area, which I thought was, you know, ridiculous for the amount of time it has gone until they started to move out of the main part, you know. But I can see it from the business point of view that all the business didn't want it to move out of that part of town. But the town's grown too great for that to try and hold it in one area like that, I thought.
As CEO, what would you do about the water situation? Would you go with the proposed pipeline from the Macquarie River?
Well, what I can understand about the pipeline is that there'd be too much expense on ratepayers to run water from there into town. I'm not in favour of that. I think Lake Rowlands is a good opportunity, because Lake Rowlands, if they couldn't make that a big enough water supply, it filled up in no time after the drought. And the pump, you've only got to pump water, there's already at Millthorpe, you've only got to pump, and it wouldn't cost near as much to run buy water from Lake Rowlands as what it would, and put more money into that than what it would from there. And you've got a dam that holds water. Unless you put a dam where there's a big river, I don't think you're going to have a lot of water to be able to pump out of it. It's no good of just saying they're going to pump out a river. When the river's going dry, they're not going to let you pump out of it.
You're involved with the tower racing, aren't you?
Yeah.
What would you do with the showground? Would you move that to Towick Park and use the showground for something else, or what's your feeling about that?
Well, my feeling is that for the future of the town and to get money into the town, it's a bit like looking at a business. If you've got everything in a lot of things in the one business, it's a lot cheaper to operate it as one as what it is to have different ones around. Now, if you had the showground out at Towick Park, then you're going to be a lot better off because you'd have all the one structure with all the one looking after it, and a lot of the buildings could be used as a multi-purpose buildings, and used a lot more if you had the showground with the trotting truck in the middle. And I think you're going to make, and out there at the race course, if you had the ring events in the middle, you've got a grandstand, but they can already see the ring events and everything. And I've seen, that I've done a bit into it, looked into it a bit, and I've got, plans of what can show what can be done out there. And there is a lot of ground out there, and it's a lot drier ground than where the showground is. The showground's very low ground, and going back when I was even a kid, you'd go to the show, and if it rained, it was just bog holes, And it's still now, and the showground is cut back that much now, and it's fallen down that much that it would be silly to spend money there when you could put it all into one dual complex, I can understand these people wanting the showground been there for 150 odd years, but you've got to look ahead. Apparently Tamworth now have done a multi thing like Orange is talking about doing, and I've heard it's fantastic.
What do you think the council should do with the showground?
Well, I think that it's that bad land. I think it should be just sold off as development, because I think it'd just be a waste of money to try and hold more land in Orange as land that you've got to spend money on when you can be only going all into one area, and bring money into the town to create other parts of town that would make it a lot better. I'd like to see the showground play, and then I'd like to see where the trotting track is now developed into what they're talking about, a caravan park out there. Well, I think into the town, a really good caravan park would bring tourism a hell of a lot. This town is very lax in as far as catering for tourism, as far as campers go. And I've been pushing for the Lake Canobus in the last few months, because I reckon the lake is a beautiful spot, for campers. And I do think it should only be a limited of, say, if you only made a limit of 3 nights there, then you'd only get people that are travelling through, they spend money in the town, and then move on, and you get the nice lot of people that look after it out there, because if you're in a place where you want a nice camp place, you'll make sure it's that way when you leave. But if you're there as a permanent, you just, after a while, the people, they just don't care.